wow. I really hope we weren't on the air talking about that.
We weren't. I just pushed the button. Now your secrets are safe with us. But people can hear us now, just so you know.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, we're off screen, but the mics are live, baby. Hey, welcome to the Common Good Podcast, everyone. We've had a heck of a morning trying to get the internet to behave. I don't know. Sometimes you got to have a Sabbath, as my rabbis tell me, and you have to just restart. You got to take a little break. Took a week off. I'll tell you what, Rob. I don't know why it happens, but if I take a week off of the live stream and stuff, and I come back, it's like the technology is like a crabby puppy. Like, why did you leave me? What were you doing? Why did you never call? Why don't you call? It's unbelievable. But anyway, hey, we're back. Doug Badgett here, Minneapolis. It's like 5 degrees. And winter, hardy winter here. How are things squirreled away somewhere outside of Fayetteville, Arkansas, Rob?
Yeah, we're mid 40s and really, really windy.
Oh.
Like uncomfortably windy. Like that windy that you're just like, ugh, I don't like this.
Well, friends, we'd love to know where in the world you are in the chat and what the weather's like, especially those of you in like New York that got pummeled with snow. I mean, you received like Buffalo, New York level of snow.
Yeah.
And you're not ready for it. We know that.
As you know, Doug, my son Calvin lives in New York City, and he's tall. He's not as tall as you, but
by some standards, yes.
I mean, by my standards, he's tall.
Okay.
He's not as tall as you, but he is taller than me. And he and his friends made a snowball that was taller than Calvin.
Wow.
And he posted a picture of him sitting on top of it.
How did they rolled it? They
rolled it. Yeah.
Wow.
And multiple people pushing on it and
wonderful
keeping it going. So, kids having fun in the snow.
Good. Yes. Good. We still, look, democracy's iffy. The nation is maybe not going to survive the cancer of the Trump administration, but there's still life to be lived. So, people have to do all the things. Hey, were you referencing the Olympics, which ended? I tried to watch a little bit on an airplane Sunday night flying back, and I'm like, why is there this obscure, weird, like, I don't know, like a drama or an opera? Something going on. Apparently, it was the closing ceremonies beginning, and I thought it was like a long commercial. I was on an airplane screen, totally confused. Did you watch any of that closing ceremonies?
I didn't watch any of the closing ceremonies. Doug, every year, every time the Olympics come on, I have like this. Oh, I'm gonna get into the Olympics this year. This would be fun,
Sure.
And I, watch about 15 minutes of Sweden against Canada in curling, mixed doubles curling. And then I just never get back to it.
Yeah. I am surprised what NBC chooses to put on their broadcast stuff, easiest to find things. It's sports that are just, to me, so uninteresting. And maybe that's just winter sports overall, but it's a lot of ice skating, a lot of curling, occasional, person on a snowboard. I thought I would go through and pick, because now on online stuff you can pick highlights, and I've realized with any sporting event, I don't want to watch the highlights after it happened. If somehow I'm not believing it's happening right now and I'm like somehow butterfly affecting the outcome of this.
Oh, totally.
Uninterested.
Totally, yeah.
Completely uninterested.
Yeah.
But I will say, I feel like this outfit I'm wearing today for this first part of our podcast, like if Folk Common Good had an Olympics, I feel like this would be the Olympic. And I didn't realize that until I sat down and thought, wow, real matchy here with the colors and the.
And I'm going full Jim Jordan here.
Oh,
so
very much.
Full jacketless Jim Jordan, no jacket and a yellow tie. Doug,
let me just say, if you start volunteering to be a wrestling coach somewhere, it's going to be all hands on deck to capture you.
Though you mentioned a wrestling. I did. I sticker bombed my computer, and I finally got in the mail my Randy Macho Man Savage sticker.
Wow! Hang on a second. Let's get you Let's get
It
you.
was coming. It was coming
Big on
from
camera.
Canada, and
Wow.
it finally arrived in the mail.
Did you
And
have to pay 30% more than you had planned for that
I,
said sticker?
I don't know. I don't know.
Hey, apparently we're all going to get $1,700 back from the federal government for the theft that they've caused over the last year. At least that's what
Yeah,
the Democrats want, my friend. And I
yeah. I
think
don't
they've
think
got a
that's
winning argument against Trump. Like,
yeah,
your tariffs are illegal and you have to give us our money back.
yeah,
Are
yeah.
you going to be running on that message that there's a $1,700 check that needs to be delivered to your mailbox for each person?
That's an excellent idea, and I will take that under consideration. My fear is that, um, as typically happens, the American people are going to have to get in line behind the big corporations to get the
Mhm.
crumbs from the federal government table. Saw that FedEx filed a lawsuit today against the Department of Homeland Security, which is
Great.
having a really rough time. Like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, 2026 Department of Homeland Security just really really rough. Um, Department filed a lawsuit because it's actually border and
Hmm.
Customs and Border Patrol, CBP, that collects the tariffs,
Yeah.
and so FedEx has filed a lawsuit against them to be reimbursed, and I'm sure other corporations are going to follow suit
Yep.
because as we've talked about, Doug, you know the foreign companies don't, or the foreign governments don't pay these tariffs.
That's right.
The companies importing goods do, and some of those companies have eaten the cost,
Yeah.
but most of them have passed them on to consumers, and it
Yep.
has been a significant part of the inflation crisis we've had and the affordability crisis. And it's bad for the American economy to impose widespread high tariffs in such, again,
In
has
such a
no
way.
one watched Ferris Bueller's Day Off? Like Ben Stein, Bueller, uh, Ben Stein explains in detail how the tariff policies of the United States government in the
Yep.
19 teens greatly uh, impacted the Great Depression, and just tariffs aren't good for the
They're-
American economy.
No, they might be a tactic that's used at a certain time in a negotiation with a country to try to put some mutual pressure, that kind of thing. But this deal that Trump has done, and people that are following this podcast are probably smart enough to have already kept up on the news of this. The Supreme Court said that power that you're using to just willy-nilly decide morning by morning about who's going to pay more, like you're some sort of a kid running a lemonade stand. When we were kids and we ran a lemonade stand, we changed the
did you
price all the time.
change the price depending on the car pulling
Yeah.
up?
Like you can have two for free and no, you have to, it's 50 cents. We're doing that all the time. That's Donald Trump, with the United States and global economy.
Yeah,
They've said you can't do that anymore.
yeah. And
They
for
they
people to
pinned
understand,
him back. They pinned him down. They said no. They put their knee between his shoulders and told him he has to stop.
yeah.
And how do you
And
think
the
he's going to respond to
reason-
that tonight when he looks them in the face and they're sitting there in the front row in their little eyes wide shut uniforms? How do you think they're going to feel about staring the man down when he's like, "I gave you your job"?
Yeah, because two of the justices that he appointed were, voted against him, and in just to boil it down for people to try to put the cookies on the bottom shelf here. Tariffs are a tax.
Put the cookies on the bottom shelf here.
Yeah, yeah. You,
Is that-
like that phrase? Put the
I
cookies
do.
on the
I like
bottom-
that phrase a lot. Is that a phrase, or did you
Yeah,
just
it's
come
a
up with
phrase
that?
that my homiletics professor used to say.
Put the cookies on the bottom shelf.
Yeah.
Boy, there's a guy who's dealing with some unsolved parental frustration from his childhood when he was a man of not
But
great stature
the idea of,
and had to
making
climb
some-
up to
yeah,
get himself a
yeah,
cookie.
yeah.
Put
Make
the
it
cookie-
easy and simple. Put the cookies. I'm gonna put the cookies on the bottom shelf.
Did you immediately start chanting "Who stole the cookie from the cookie jar" when he said that?
No, No, because we want to
'Cause
make the cookies available.
he
Nobody has to steal them. We're putting them on the bottom shelf so they're easy to reach.
Thank you. Okay. Go on. So put the cookies on the bottom shelf for us.
Tariffs are a tax.
Yes.
Only Congress has the authority to level taxes.
Mm-hmm.
Congress cannot abdicate that authority to the President of the United States like they tried to do.
Mm-hmm.
The Supreme Court said, no, we're going to actually follow the Constitution.
Okay.
Only Congress can levy taxes, which means tariff policy belongs to Congress.
Well, but we've always had a tariff policy in the executive branch, which was meant to be a part of international relationships. And tariffs don't have to be a tax on the American people. Another country could say, we will pay the extra fee that is required. I think the president needs to have a tariff authority. To use it the way Trump has used it, which I don't want to recount a year ago when he told us it was about fentanyl. Remember that argument?
Oh,
it was about
fentanyl
overdoses.
Yeah.
Now it's a global 15% on everyone.
Yeah, and he's using, this time he's using another law from 1974, which grants the president the ability to impose tariffs. And it is a law, it is authority that has never been used by a president of the United States. And Trump's own Justice Department has argued against its validity. In their argument for why their tariff policy should stay in place, they've said, well, this is the only way we can do it because we can't do it that way. And now they're doing it that way.
Of course, because they're criminal.
This one is going to get thrown out as well. It's just ridiculous.
The amount of waste that the current administration has generated in the judicial branch by having so many judges and judge panels have to rule against them, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You would call it frivolous lawsuits but
they're not
if
frivolous.
You could somehow say that their frivolity has created the need for there to be a lawsuit filed, because just so we all know, every time something goes to court, there has to be a plaintiff and a defendant. Every time a court rules about something, some American has to say the federal government harmed me in this way, and then this process starts. The only way it gets into the courts. So the amount of time and energy and money that is just being blissfully wasted.
Yes.
It's almost as if we should have a big movement to try to defund the executive branch, which I know, Mike Stavlin, you don't want the few people working in the White House to lose their jobs, and I feel that pain. But other than that, somebody.
Yeah.
You know what I think a President Pritzker, Newsom, Harris, Buttigieg, Tallarico, whatever president we end up with, swearing in on the January 2029.
Please include Ocasio-Cortez.
Oh yeah. President AOC, President of the United States. What's the little short term for President of the United States? What do we say? POTUS AOC. Because who's got time, for full words to the acronym crowd. Whatever president we end up with, I hope they find a way to levy tariffs only on countries whose products are sold at Mar-a-Lago.
Oh, that's a good idea.
I hope it is a Mar-a-Lago focused tariff of 90%. And they just say, if you don't want to pay 90%, you just have to stop selling anything to Mar-a-Lago. The
Love
bed
it.
bug chemicals, they're gone. The crappy security cameras, gone. The pants box providers, gone.
You beat me
The
to it.
gold leaf people,
Yeah.
gone. Hey,
Or
we finally got a
in,
comment here, and
in the
Jim, thank you. Jim, no one is more aware of our idiocy than us. So thank you for joining the
no
crowd.
argument. No,
Thank you for
I
joining
mean,
the
is
crowd.
anybody arguing with you, Jim?
Thanks, Jim. Hey, Jim, deep calls to deep, buddy.
Takes one to know one.
Bum. Thank you. Thank you, Nina
Or,
Riviera.
or
It's a great
I like
idea. Mar-a-Lago tariffs for everybody.
yeah, I like the Mar-a-Lago tariffs, and I would like to couple that with Board of Peace tariffs.
Oh, anybody on the Board of Peace? All those
Any
nations?
country represented on the Board of Peace, you get a tariff on you. Listen, so Doug, I mentioned, and I don't know, I mentioned the lawsuit against the Department of Homeland Security and said the Department of Homeland Security is having a bad year. The Department of Homeland Security, like we're in the midst of a partial government shutdown right now. And the part of the government that is shut down is the Department of Homeland Security. And the reason for that is that Democrats are demanding some reforms related to ICE, immigration, customs enforcement, or whatever it is. And Doug, I want to read to you the 10 demands.
Oh, nice.
That the Democrats are making, and I would like you to stop me when I say something unreasonable.
Okay, these are the 10 demands that Democrats are making in order to reopen the part of the government that funds Homeland Security. This is in response to ICE behavior and treatment, essentially.
Number one, targeted enforcement. DHS officers cannot enter private property without a judicial warrant. Number 2.
It's the Constitution. Unnecessary. We already have a law about that. I'm going to play the libertarian role. We don't need new laws. We just need to enforce the laws that exist.
Number 2.
I love that crowd. I mean, that crowd is the best. Let's cheer them on. Here we go. Let me get my Rand Paul going.
Number 2, no masks. Prohibit ICE and immigration enforcement agents from wearing masks and other face coverings.
The fact that the people who stood against masks for public safety now demand that they get to wear masks is like, I thought it was bad for your breath and bad for your lungs, and it traps it traps the COVID in there and you can't get it out, the masks.
Number 3, require ID. Require DHS officers conducting immigration enforcement to display their agency unique ID and last name.
Yeah, required by law already. Yes.
Number 4, protect sensitive locations. Prohibit funds being used to conduct enforcement near sensitive locations, including medical facilities, schools, child care facilities, churches, polling places, courts.
Seems reasonable.
Number 5, stop racial profiling. Number 6.
See, that's a little general.
Well, prohibit DHS officers from conducting stops, questioning, or searches based on an individual's presence at certain locations, their job, their spoken language and accent, or their race or ethnicity.
And by the way, both of those points were things that the Supreme Court said ICE could do unless Congress passes a law prohibiting them. Do you remember that ruling that they had?
Yeah.
Because so often the Supreme Court is saying, Congress, this is in your hands. If you don't want the administration to have this power, take it from them. They're taking it from them.
Number 6, uphold use of force standards. Place into law a reasonable use of force policy, expand training, and require certification of officers.
We need to deregulate ICE and let them do what they want. They know what's best for the American people, Rob. That's what everyone knows.
7, ensure state and local coordination and oversight. Preserve the ability of state and local jurisdictions to investigate and prosecute potential crimes and use of force incidents. Number 8, build safeguards into the system. Make clear that all buildings where people are detained must abide by the same basic detention standards that require immediate access to a person's attorney, blah, blah, blah. Number 9, Body cameras for accountability, not tracking. Require use of body cameras when interacting with the public and mandate requirements. Number 10, no paramilitary police. Regulate and standardize the type of uniforms and equipment DHS officers employ. Doug, are any of these
No.
things unreasonable?
Well, what's funny is they were all things that were in place on January 15th, 2025. Those were all expectations. They were either in protocol or assumed because it's already constitutional law. This is how criminal the Trump administration is. Everything that Democrats are now demanding are things that have been in law previously. They're literally not asking for anything other than, can we go back and make Homeland Security great again?
And if you're going to claim that ICE is a police force and they're going to wear the police, thing across their back, the patch across their back, at the very least, they can follow the basic protocols that police officers follow.
Yeah, if you're going to have ICE displayed on your uniform, your name needs to be displayed on your uniform. You could make an argument, people do it all the time, that certain law enforcement need to be undercover and blah, 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 blah. Yes. But when you're undercover, you're not like showing that you're law enforcement and not showing your face and not displaying your name.
Yep.
And here's how absurd it is, Rob. I know we talked about this a couple weeks ago, but it's worth saying again on this point. A sheriff in Minneapolis, in Brooklyn Center, reached out to ICE, Department of Homeland Security, because his own deputies were being pulled over when off duty.
Yeah.
He said, what do we do about this? They said, you go to the website and file a complaint. Among the first questions on the website are the name and badge number of the officer who committed. And he said in a press conference, which people can watch, you can go to, you don't have the name and you don't have a badge number. And when I told them that, they said, that's not our decision. So the very thing that the system of Department of Homeland Security has as the remedy for bad behavior, they have also said, we can't have people know who these people are. If you're committing such heinous activities, you should not be, if you're not committing such heinous activities, why would you not be proud of your job? Why do you not back the blue? Why are you not a proud American law enforcement officer? Speaking of proud American law enforcement officers, did you see that Kash Patel flew himself on his government jet to the Olympics to be in the locker room and apparently on official duty consumed large amounts of alcohol and displayed that on the internet? I mean, just the fact the guy is chugging alcohol in a video while, according to him, he is doing official duties. That's why he is there. He said, I'm not there just to be a fan. I had official duties.
Yeah.
Why does the FBI director need to be in a locker room in Milan drinking with the boys and then calling the president? Did you see the video of him calling the president and them all chatting on speakerphone?
Yeah.
And Trump made that joke about, I want you guys to come to the State of the Union because it's really going to be great and you guys can all be there, because he wants to brag about them winning a hockey game.
Yeah.
And he said, but we're going to have to invite the women's hockey team too. And they all laughed. Yes.
And he did invite the women's hockey team and they refused the invitation.
They said, sorry, we're busy.
Yeah. So Doug, let's
makes me want to wear American
women's
hockey uniform around.
Well, it's not called a uniform. It's called a sweater, isn't it? A hockey jersey? I think it's called a sweater.
Oh, I thought you were suggesting because it was the women's hockey team, they called it a sweater.
No,
I'm like, what on earth?
All right, let's.
They call it a sweater in hockey?
pretty sure.
Okay, we need our researchers. Let's get Jim Krause. Hey, Jim, I'm sure you're still listening because you can't help yourself. Hey, would you look that up for us? Is it called a
Google that for us, Jim?
sweater in hockey? Not a jersey, not a uniform.
Pretty sure.
I love that.
Yeah, pretty sure. Okay.
That's how the English refer to like zip-ups. They call them a sweater.
Yeah, and what we call sweaters, they call jumpers.
Jumpers.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. State of the Union addresses tonight. Doug, are you going to watch?
I'm not going to watch.
This is
I wish it was out of protest, but actually I have to do a Zoom call that I forgot I was doing, and then I have band practice, so I can't.
There we go. All right. I'm on the Polymarket website where you can place bets on the State of the Union address.
Okay.
Yabbits would know. Yabbits, is it called a sweater?
Yeah, but solve the sweater dilemma or hockey.
Yeah, I mean,
hockey
Jim
uniforms.
Jim Krause is totally unreliable. Here we go. Will the President of the United States say America or American 50 plus times during the State of the Union address?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
82% of bettors agree with you. Investors, whatever. 25 times? You would say that as well. Sure. Will he say jobs 20 times or more?
Does he have a phrase in front of that?
Will he say Biden 10 times or more?
Oh, he will say Biden.
Only 36% of people are.
Put your money down on that. Put your cryptocurrency bet down on there. Get your Trump coin on that one.
Will he say border 7 times or more?
Oh, yes.
See, I think I'd go no on that. 79% say yes.
Really? What if he does the weird? What if he says it in the same sentence because he gets himself confused and he can't read?
Well, he doesn't get confused. He does the weave.
And he comes back and forth. Does that all count?
Yeah. Yeah. Will he say hottest?
Like the hottest market? People in the world are telling me that the U.S. is the hottest market.
Yeah. The word hottest.
I don't know. Does he ever say hottest?
84% of people say that he will.
Take that.
Will he say "Make America Great Again"?
Even once?
Yeah.
It probably has to. He has a tick. He has a.
Will he mention the gold card, the Trump card, the immigration scam that he's got?
Because you know who you should trust to come into America? People who live in other countries and are so wealthy that they want to get out of those countries.
Will he say Epstein?
0.
11% of people think he'll say Epstein. Will he say egg?
Oh, he'll say egg.
Well,
yeah,
I would go no on that.
Because egg prices.
Will he say 6, 7?
He will not say 6, 7.
Who are the 11% of people betting that he'll say 6, 7? That's
Bots.
bizarre. Nobel Peace Prize?
No, I think he'll say pants box before Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah. Auto pen?
Oh, he'll say auto pen.
Will we
Crooked Joe? Is Crooked Joe in there?
No, it's not. Will we get a fake news?
Oh, we get fake news.
49% of people. So
will he say bomb Iran?
Bomb Iran. That's you remember that? That's a little that's a little Rush Limbaugh joke there. He had a little parody of John McCain singing Bomb Iran.
Mm-hmm. Greenland. Yeah, but it says Greenland. Will he say Greenland? Hey, will he say Vote Common Good and Julia Roberts and award-winning commercial?
Unlikely.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, but it says, will he sit or stand?
Yeah.
That's our bet when someone comes to use our restroom in our house when their friends are over and they're men. Because we're a sit family no matter what. Yeah. And we're like, Are they going to sit or stand in there? Because I'll tell you what, when you stand, we have a restroom off of our family room, and we have people in the family room, and then people go in the bathroom. And when men go in there, it's just, you can hear how strong the stream is, and it's not attractive. Gentlemen, sit down. Sit.
The algorithm has been giving me
Heels.
subway takes reels. It's a guy who sits on the subway and he interviews people and they give their hot takes on things. And there was one the other day about how men should sit all the time.
Huh.
And I almost sent it to you, Doug.
Oh, I wish. There's nothing not better in a public in a private restroom than that. They're not designed for stand activities.
Hockey jerseys are commonly referred to as sweaters in traditional and Canadian contexts. Sweater jersey kit.
Oh. Well, yeah, in Canadian lingo and English lingo, I could see that.
We're talking about hockey.
No, we're talking about the United States of America. Who won? Who beat?
Sweaters.
I don't know who. I actually don't know who the women's team beat.
Canada.
They beat Canada
men
too?
and women. Both teams beat the Canadians.
Elbows up, Canada. Elbows up. Come on now.
Doug, I'm a Canadian citizen.
Of course you are. Why don't you love America? Why do you people who want to run for office you just can't show your true allegiance to this nation, Rob or IRC?
Hey, listen. Here's what we need to have. We need to have a conversation.
And you're not even an immigrant. Somehow, literally, you're a Canadian citizen.
My grandfather was a Canadian citizen, and they now have passed a lost Canadians law.
I see. It's all blood and soil up there, huh?
It makes me a Canadian citizen. That's right.
You know what makes us great here? We don't do that. Anyone can be an American.
Doug, we need to have a conversation about better Minneapolis tribute song. Streets of Minneapolis by Bruce Springsteen or American Obituary by U2.
Well, I am just not a sound of U2's fan. I just don't like the sound of their music. Occasionally something slips by and it's like, that's pretty good. But on a whole, and that song, I've listened to it half a dozen times trying. I don't think it makes any sense. It's not very good. It's like two songs clammed together. It sounds like U2. Ugh. Look at that look on my face. Look at that. Ugh. I didn't even know I could make that look. Do I make that face a lot? I don't remember looking at a screen and knowing it.
I don't think so. I don't think you make that face a lot.
It's reserved. It's reserved for Crybaby. What's their album, Crybabies? But how did you like it? Because I know you're a big U2 fan. You understand their music. You like it.
Yeah. So they released a whole EP that I think 5 or 6 songs on Ash Wednesday called Days of Ash.
That's a nice title.
Enjoy. How much can you enjoy? I like it. I think lyrically it's more interesting and engaging than Streets of Minneapolis is. There are other songs on the EP that I think I like a little more. But generally, like if you're into U2, like it's like, okay, this is right in the sweet spot.
Yeah, I'm glad they did it. I'm glad. I hope all the
song went to number 1 in the country, which is great.
That's great.
Because as many people who are thinking about what's happening in the country and
yes,
contemplating, and really great song. I don't know, you probably haven't listened to the whole thing. Really great song about the war in Ukraine as well. At the end of the EP, that's really fantastic.
I'd like to hear that. No, I didn't know there was an EP. Look, the Streets of Minneapolis song by Bruce Springsteen, that is like that's like a love song to this city. I don't know how much it makes sense to other people, right? But people hearing places and the experiences named, and we did a thing with our phones and our whistles and our blood and our bones. I don't know if it makes any sense to anybody else. But, he's launched a quick, snap tour called the Land of Hope and Dreams Tour. And it's kicking off March 31st in the great city of Minneapolis. I got tickets.
Excellent.
I was sitting with two phones. You'd appreciate this, Rob. In Florida, sitting with two phones outside of a Walmart.
Oh.
On the little bench, because we were on a bike ride and we knew the time I had to pull over, and so sitting there with two phones trying to get them to work, and prices are all over the place, and they're $3,000 for a ticket all of a sudden, and then a couple $100 for a ticket is just ridiculous. It just makes no sense.
Doug, anyway, will the Democrats do anything ridiculous during the State of the Union?
Yes, I hope so.
You do hope so?
I hope somebody stands up and says something. Look, this man, Rob, here's the thing. The decorum of the presidency has been soiled by Donald Trump. He no longer deserves the accolades and the protections of American citizens and governmental co-workers that normally goes with the presidency. If he's going to demean it to the level that he does, why should the rest of us act like the thing most important is that we act as if there's some decorum, while this guy just rampages and rages and basically just shits on the whole thing? He's an embarrassment as a person in this role. So I hope somebody does something rather than just sit there and choose when to applaud and when not to applaud, or just don't go at all, which would be a great thing to do. Leave it half empty.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a man, Rob, who invited governors to come together to try to solve the economic crisis in America, and only invited Republican governors.
Yeah.
We know what the State of the Union is. The State of the Union is broken and embarrassed. I hope they do something. Because for the love, if a Democrat doesn't find a moment to do or say something, wear something, stand up, get up and walk out, kneel down, sneeze repeatedly.
Oh.
I think a series of sneezes every time the man says something ridiculous and untrue, that people just start sneezing and coughing, that would be great.
I mean, they would be fake sneezes though, because you can't sneeze on command. I don't know about a sneeze, a sneeze action.
What's wrong with a fake sneeze? the point is,
Doug, they say that
it's
when
acting.
When you sneeze,
Angel.
the particles from your sneeze can travel 12 feet.
I've heard that at some high rate.
Yeah. I think
you can sneeze in a cloth. You can sneeze in a hanky.
Yeah.
What do you guys call it? What do you call it where you're from? If you don't call it, I'm sure you don't call it a hanky if you're calling a jersey a sweater. They can sneeze all the time. You could just, I don't know. All I'm saying is, look, here's the thing that's frustrating to me about this period in time.
Mm-hmm.
Name the Democrat who is face forward to the American people calling out this president's behavior. Hardly a one. You get an occasional something. And does the non-political American people know anybody other than comedians and actors and people for whom it's technically not their business riding Donald Trump daily? Nope. So when do you have a chance? If you can't do it on a given Thursday, maybe on one Tuesday.
Yeah.
When a man's going to stand up and bloviate nonsense for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
It's going to be so bad. And look, if they start jeering him like people did to Biden, like people did to Obama, he will not be able to control himself. And people should see what all of us know Donald Trump does in private. They should see it in public. And someone should just start to taunt him until he behaves there the way he behaves at 2 a.m. with his little thumbs from his lounge chair in the White House.
Yeah. Well, it is going to be interesting to see.
How delightful would it be? And you know what would get all the attention? Why did Democrats do that thing? You know what will drive Donald Trump crazy? That Democrats got attention when he wanted attention for whatever nonsense he's about to unleash on us.
Yep. So it's going to.
But I prepare to be disappointed by the behavior of the party that I support.
Yeah. Doug, by the time we do this podcast again next week, I will have voted for myself.
Congratulations. In the primary that you don't have an opponent?
Yeah, I am listed in the unopposed candidates, and but I will vote for all of the unopposed candidates.
Rob Ryersey's Russian election
Right.
ballot.
That's right. That's right. Hey, listen, I have to run, but I want to.
Democrats should invite Marjorie Taylor Greene to come to the.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, she's got some experience heckling. A state.
Wow, what if she was sitting up in the balcony?
Maybe.
And she does it. She starts saying Epstein. Or what did she yell? What did she yell at the other the presidents of the other party? What did her and Lauren Boebert yell?
I don't remember. But if I'm a congressperson next year and at the State of the Union address, we should run a poll on what I should do.
Oh, you should do something.
Oh yeah, totally. We are starting a new little segment on the podcast. I'm calling it the do-gooders, because it's the Common Good podcast. We all have things to do. I'm running for office. Doug, you leading the charge in Minneapolis and leading the charge with Vote Common Good in our work. There's so many things for us to do that there's all sorts of different ways for people to be involved, different ways to do good in the midst of all of this evil. And so Doug and I are spending some time talking to some of the people that are doing good. And so today we want to introduce you to some folks that have gotten organized and have set up a thing called the American People's Compact. They kind of recognized that they weren't feeling very represented by their elected leaders and decided to do something about it. And so we have this conversation with the American People's Compact that I think you're going to enjoy. They are they're do-gooders.
Yeah, we recorded it a week ago and are going to play it now. So Rob and I were both different people back then, and it's good to sort of revisit. But the good work that the APC is doing is still going, and so we're going to finish out the podcast with this fabulous interview. Are you ready, Rob? Are you done?
I'm done. I gotta go to a meeting.
Well, you run off. I'll take it from here. Okay, bye.
Yeah. Well, today we have the opportunity to have a conversation with Vishu Asthana, who is the founder of the American People's Compact. As we talk about people doing good in the world, and there's all sorts of different ways that people are plugged in, getting involved, getting activated. And when we found out about the American People's Compact, we just thought that, man, this is really a great thing that's happening that we wanted to highlight and encourage everybody to know about and to get connected with. And so we invited Vishu to join us and have a conversation about what he and his team were up to. So Vishu, thank you for being with us.
Thanks for having me, Rob and Doug. I appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. So what would we normally find you doing on this day if you weren't on a podcast chatting with us? What does your day entail?
Getting right into it. Yeah. So there's a lot that I do. So one might even question how I have time for this. This team and I am putting this together. But on the day-to-day, I'm a physician. actually. So I'm a hospitalist, hospital medicine. We sort of take care of patients that get admitted to the hospital and help coordinate their care. I'm also a scientist, so I have an MD, PhD, so I have a combo background. That we call us this group physician scientists. So
Ah,
I work in a lab as well, and then I have an associated startup as well with the research that I work on. So
all right. So
that's my
Vishy, this might not sound that important, but I,
yeah,
I know that scientists in labs wear coats, like white coats, and I know doctors
yeah,
wear white coats. Do you wear the
yeah.
same coat between places, or do you have one that's like your lab coat and one that's your doctor seeing patients coat?
They're definitely different. The lab coat is just a mess. It's got
Really?
stuff all over it, chemical stains. That's unacceptable in a hospital
I
setting.
see.
And then
I
Yeah,
see.
it totally scare the patients.
yeah, they raise some questions.
Are
Uh,
you ever finding yourself like making your way to one or the other place and you're like, oh my gosh, I've got the wrong jacket
on
on?
there's so many rules. Like you got to take, at least in lab, you got to take the coat off before you go into the common area, because then people are
Oh,
like, oh, who is this guy? What is he doing? So thankfully that mix up has not happened.
great, great. Well, all right.
That's hilarious. So you have a very busy day job, and you have also decided to kind of get involved in the world of politics. What motivated that? What caused that? Why did you decide that you wanted to put together the American People's Compact?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing was like come 2024, the elections and post. I think there was just there's just general discontent with politics generally and electeds, and that there's this gap, perceived or real, between what our electeds are doing and working on, or at least what they're saying, and what the general populace is sort of asking for and or demanding. And so, I was under the thought, hey, maybe we could help bridge this divide with what ultimately became the American People's Compact. And, I'm happy to shed more details on sort of that process, but that was sort of the inspiration for it.
Yeah. Had you been involved in political stuff before, or just like,
Not at
I
all.
always say, like, when Donald Trump got elected in 2016, and Vote Common Good got started, like, we could complain about him on Facebook, or we could get organized, and we decided to get organized and actually do a little bit of both. We still complain about him on Facebook, but is this your first foray into this kind of thing?
It is. Yeah. Yeah. Just in the last year, actually.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so
And
talk us through that for people who themselves are thinking, I want to do something, and so many of us feel that way right now, and we don't know what to do, and we look around. I live in Minneapolis, and it's very poignant here. I know you're in Ann Arbor, Michigan. You all have felt the pressure of this federal government's attack on certain people in our communities, and people want to do something. How did you go from okay, I want to do something to coming up with a name and launching a group, and sort of what went into that? Did this thing catch you and start to roll down the hill, and all of a sudden you're catching up to it, or were you having to push a ball up the hill, or how do you think about this?
yeah, I think prior to 2024 and my foray into this sort of space, there was just so much, I was doing so much complaining. And it just wasn't productive. And it was just, stress, and I didn't feel like I was helping myself in this. And so, um, I decided to take a more active role. And it's been so therapeutic. It's been so stress relieving to just be involved and, trying to do my part to help. And that's what I would encourage anyone that's listening. Just, you don't have to be a sideline player in this. I
Hmm.
think the U.S. democracy, everyone and anyone can be involved, and you should
Hmm.
either start something of your own. You have an idea. I think everyone does. They just sometimes sit on it, or get involved with another org, like Vote Common Good.
Yeah. So tell us about what your idea was, and how you came up with it.
Yeah. So again, the principle was that there is this sort of disconnect between electeds and the populace, and I think really it comes down to we really all want the same thing. This is sort of like this is nonpartisan. Democrats want the same thing, Republicans want the same thing, but this country's become so polarized that it just doesn't seem like that anymore. But really, if you boil it down, the majority of people can get behind a majority of things. And so that's sorry, I didn't mention this before, but the second sort of inspiration for this, and the process sort of was, I have a little bit of like a tech background, software, stuff like that, that stems from my research. And so what I ended up, and our group, I can't take credit, this is a group of us actually, ended up doing is we, as a first pass, we collated a ton of survey data, national survey data over the last few years to get a sense of what were the top sort of priorities on American minds. So this wasn't like personally created, and we tried to remain as objective in this process and not bias it. We just used a lot of data. So we collated this data, and we ultimately found 16 items, and those are the 16 items reflected in the American People's Compact. And we organized them sort of by popularity. And then after that, after we organized the 16 items, for the solutions for each said item,
We've got the
we
new
actually
bus
went
was
to
a tube
expert
amp
opinion.
expander core on the bench today. This is a streamlined version of their flagship was a tube amp expander, which I've featured on the channel before. Essentially, you've got a reactive load.
We collated that information to sort of serve as a guidepost for America and for electeds. So now we have something on our hands, this product, and we were wondering, is this actually something that's meaningful? Is it helpful? Like, what was the point? And so we ended up testing it nationally on 9,000 Americans about a few months ago, just to get a sense, like, hey, is this really connecting with people? Is this really what the people want? And we were really impressed. I was very unsure, but just at a high level, the results were that 8 in 10 Americans were behind the compact. It didn't matter if you were Democrat, Republican. It didn't matter what demographic you were, race, age. They were with it, and I think that gets behind the point that really we all want the same thing. And then the kicker to this was that we asked this question in the polling, which was, if a candidate or a party were to adopt this platform, and specifically the items in this platform, what would your approval rating be or change for that said party or candidate? And just for some perspective, because people are very entrenched in their party beliefs generally. So for a popular policy item like universal background checks or affordable healthcare or things like that, that moves the needle like 2 to 3%. But the compact moved the needle by 18%.
Wow.
Yeah. It was a lot. So I was like, I think we have something on our hands here. Let's push it. So that's sorry, I've been going on for a while, but that's that's how we got there. That's the conception process.
Yeah. And so, maybe you, maybe you can answer this for me. Maybe you've got some insight into this. I know, you mentioned kind of that really gravitational pull that party identity tends to have on people when they vote. So I live in the state of Arkansas, which is really interesting because we here in Arkansas have overwhelmingly voted on election resolutions to raise the minimum wage or allow for medical marijuana. And at the very same time, like 60+% of voters, landslide kind of levels. And at the very same time, we have sent people to Washington, D.C. or to Little Rock who absolutely oppose those very things that, so there's an interesting, when the policy gets pulled away from the person, the policy passes and gets voted in. And so do people who oppose that policy. And it's like this weird kind of cognitive dissonance that happens with people. And I'm curious if you've seen that and any sense of how to disrupt that.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I agree with you. And I think probably you're really hitting the nail on the head, because subconsciously I was thinking about that as well. Just like this disconnect. And I think it has to do with party loyalty, really, and branding and messaging that really clouds the picture when really, again, the idea is the same. We really want all the same thing, and that's reflected in these referendums, for example, that you mentioned in Arkansas and across the country. I'm by no means a social psychologist, but I think that's partially why this is doing so well. It just really helps disentangle it, and our hope now is to sort of bring it back together.
Yeah. So I'm just going to mention a few of them that are in here, and maybe we can edit some of these in so people can see them on the screen. But it's empower working people to thrive, strengthen education skills for the future, power America's energy future, restore trust and integrity in government, expand access to affordable health care, tackle national debt with smart, balanced solutions, rebuild unity and trust through truth, this kind of thing. What I have found, I'm wondering how you all are seeing it, is that people say, oh, I totally want those. And I don't trust people on the other side of the political aisle to actually do that thing. That's what I want. But my problem is I think those people don't want the best for me. I think they don't like me, and I think they don't want me to thrive. They want some people to thrive, but not others. Do you have a sense of that people, sadly, so sadly, and I think there's a lot of reasons for this, people feel like we have a shared value, but we don't actually trust one another to be in power to bring that thing about?
Yeah. No, that's a great point. Yeah, I think there's at this time in American history, and then I mean this is not new, going back to the Civil War, et cetera. There's a considerable amount of distrust, I think, for the other side that stems from the political polarization. And so, yeah, we tried to make the language, at least, as broad as possible so that it really couldn't be misinterpreted like, oh, no, this is really to help us all and not just one group or the other. That was the design, at least. But no, I see what you're saying. And I think that's definitely a problem that we're going to encounter as we try to push this forward, just that suspicion.
Yeah, because one of the things we've found in polling that we've done in many of our conversations and anecdotal experiences is that people will say things like, I don't think X candidate likes me, or wants the best for me, or people like me are not top of mind for that political party. So as much as we all want to have the sense that there's some common values, it feels to a lot of people like the political system is set up to benefit some people more than others. Now I attach this very specifically to the fact that I think Republicans actually don't want all Americans to thrive. They don't. I mean, I'm listening to things coming out of the Trump administration and out of Republicans that are like, oh, no, they think some people shouldn't even be in this country. They think some people aren't even real Americans. They think the promises don't even apply to everybody. And I know that Republicans that I know and love and care about think that about me because I tend to associate with Democrats and consider myself Democrat. So we have this sense of common purpose and high level of distrust if somebody is wielding political power. How does the American People's Compact respond when people feel that way?
Yeah. So maybe it'd be helpful at this time to sort of talk about what our strategy is now.
Right.
So now so we did this polling and we found that it was incredibly successful. And so what we've been doing now sort of is a three-pronged approach, and they all center around outreach. So one is getting this into the hands of as many Americans as possible. Right now we have a pretty good presence in Michigan, but this is a national endeavor. So trying to get it into as many people's hands, before 2026 and 2028. And so that's one. And then two is partnering with orgs. So orgs in this space to sort of bring validity to set, certain items and also to distribute amongst their members. And then the last and probably the most important is getting this into the hands of candidates and electeds. And it doesn't matter where they sit on the aisle. This is actually, our effort is actually to reach out to both and get this into their hands and say, hey, these are the 16 items. We're not changing this. This is the language. The goal is the same. The policy solution that's proposed in there is more of a guidepost, but really, if you're interested in being associated with it, you have to take this pledge essentially that says, hey, I'm going to put a good faith effort to try to advance these policies. forward. And so, the items, at least, you really can't pick and choose for a given person. Like it's, collective bargaining rights, for example, is in there for empowering working people. And you can't pick and choose that for someone. So I think if, a Republican candidate got behind that, then they're representing everyone, Democrats included.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if someone, wants to find out more, wants to read the items in the compact, where can they do that? And then what, and they say, yeah, this really resonates with me. This is the kind of thing I'd want to be behind. Like, what do they do next?
Yeah, that's a great question, honestly. So there's a big thing. So we have a website. It's AmericanPeoplesCompact.org. So that's the first place to go if you'd like more information. And then the second is that, or there's three aspects, I guess. Second, of course, we're always looking for volunteers to help spread the word, get this out there, get this in as many people and candidates, electeds as possible. And then the third is, why am I blanking on the third right now? Yeah. We'll just go with the two for right now.
Okay. No problem. Yeah, it'll likely come to you. So how is it generally going? Like, do you feel like you've said, okay, you want individuals to know about it and to believe in it. You want organizations to help spread the word, which we're glad to do. And you want electeds. Where's most of the energy, and where do you feel like the need to build some extra capacity and support is most necessary?
It's across all three. And that reminds me, actually, the third item, thank you, Doug, for that, is alerting your elected officials about the American People's Compact. So that helps helps electeds and candidates know, like, hey, this is a priority for my constituents. Like, I should look into this. But to answer your question, Doug, it's been going really well. I'm surprised, honestly. I thought we would get a lot of pushback about this. Sort of like, what do you know? Or, hey, we're already doing this. Yeah. Or, maybe more establishment or corporate getting involved. But really, we haven't been getting any pushback. I was very impressed, and adoption is going quite well amongst the citizenry, orgs as well, and then candidates. At least the ones we can reach, they're very supportive, and very often it aligns really nicely with their sort of platform. Granted, politicians typically run on 3 to 4 items because 16 is too many, but on the whole, they try to stress the 4. Rob probably knows this.
Yes.
But we got, if you ever need to reference the larger platform, you can go to the American People's Compact and say, oh, hey, these are all the things. Is a thing really important to me in there? It is. I like this.
All right, can I nerd out one bit on that? Because this was interesting to me that you did some polling, and people agreed. 8 out of 10, you say nearly 8 out of 10 on the website agree with this. Did you also find that there were some that were much higher than others? Like there's a mention of climate, or there's a mention of healthcare, there's a mention of elections, there's a mention of unity. Like which of the 16 was it like, okay, those are not, those are clear across the board, and other ones are like, well, okay, there were a couple of them in there that feel like they're saying a little more, doing a little more work.
Yeah. So I did mention that we had arranged it initially by appearance or popularity in the initial surveys that we collected, but we then reordered it actually based on the polling data. So what you see, the 1 through 16, is actually the priorities across the board. Yeah. So what resonated most with people was empowering working people to thrive, not just survive. So economics.
Yeah.
We will have shown this to people before we start, because I think that's very helpful. So people will now, if they're watching this, is what we referred to before. The final one, the last one, the 16th, is address the addiction crisis. Now, look, it made the top 16. People care about it. And AI was number 15, and small towns was number 14. Does that surprise you when you, and the first 3 I'll just say are empowering working people, strengthening education skills for the future, empowering America's energy future. How did that all strike you as you were, thinking about when you were polling this? Did you have a sense that it would line differently than this?
So I had to be honest, there were budget constraints. So we actually only tested the top 13. And then the
Yeah.
other three were just, they were pulled in from the collated survey data. So those
Okay.
last three are sort of like randomly ordered,
Okay.
but they were the lowest of the 16. And that's not to say, I should say that it's not that it's not important. It's just that it affects, like, people are kind of prioritizing based on what affects them personally. And so, less Americans are affected by the addiction crisis, but it's very important and it is on people's minds.
Yeah.
So it made the top 16. And then the same thing goes for the rural communities. There are less in the rural communities, but they are very important to, the US and its economy. So that's the last disclaimer.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. Yeah. So, empowering working people to thrive, not just survive, number one. It really is ultimately about economics for people, isn't it? It's the old James Carville quote of like, it's the economy, stupid.
Yeah. I think so. I think we knew we were on the right track because it showed up first. I think it really does boil down to that, and I think especially in these times, people are struggling, and so it made sense that it showed up at the top for us. But it was interesting as you go like sort of further down, like what was a priority. Like powering America's energy future ended up being third, above healthcare actually. So that wasn't me changing anything. That was actually the polling data. And so maybe it's energy prices or just energy security, things like that. That was on people's minds.
Yeah, and you could see in a topic like that where some people are like, and the way we're going to secure energy future is to drill, baby, drill, and other people are like, no, we're gonna just spin, or we're gonna shine, or like, you could see people come to different conclusions about what they do about that.
Yeah.
Do you all suggest any details about that, or do you have a sense from the polling data where on the myriad options that people feel like they have for energy security?
So
where that would land?
We didn't. The way we ended up testing it, so we had the header, and then we like sort of bulleted out because it's too large of a paragraph to put into the polling. So we kind of bulleted out of what we were proposing, and so then people sort of expressed their approval or disapproval based on that. They didn't necessarily get a chance to say like yay or nay about specific items. So I can't say for sure, but the collective strategy that involves all of the above was I guess you could say of interest to Americans. Yeah.
Well, hey, look, we love a good poll around here. We love talking about what motivates people, how we think we know what motivates us and what really does, because we're all different, right? You ask us what's most important to someone, and you say, well, time with my family, and then you check someone's calendar, and you're like, okay, I'm glad you have a growth goal, but we also know that, look, people just don't feel like the government's at any level seems to be up to the task. Now maybe they've always felt that way, but boy, it sure feels that way right now. Like that everything has become political, in a way that just feels really hard to live with. Do you have a sense? Did the polling tell you anything? Do you think the American People's Compact is saying that people want a different relationship of politics to life? Not only a disconnect from electeds, which is for sure true. Look, we find this out all the time. People have no idea who their representatives are. They don't know how many people represent them. They don't know from the city to the state to the county to the federal government how many people like have them on the list of like, you're my constituent. They don't know them. The disconnect is severe. But also feels like so many people are saying like, I want politics to be less in my life and not more. Did that come up anywhere? Do you have a sense of that?
No, what you're describing makes sense. I think politics has become so stressful lately, I think, for people because of the polarization and the doom scrolling and like all that stuff on both sides. And I think people want to distance themselves, but really this is not the time to do so. We really need to engage people and give them hope and give them something to, get behind so that they can get more involved in the process and we can, move forward with sort of a unifying platform that we can all agree on that helps bridge this disconnect like you were talking about. And that's why we think that sort of the American People's Compact kind of helps with that.
All right, I know we should go. Rob knows how this goes, though. When I get chatting, how much similarity do you see between this political work and your work as a doctor, and maybe even as a scientist, like the distrust that people feel in certain professions from what you thought it would be or could be? Do you think there's something particular about the role that you play in your professional life and your engagement with people that gives you some insight into this? Are there some overlaps and similarities?
Yeah, so in science, don't really interact with anyone, just me and the bench. So nothing there. But in the medicine side, yeah, definitely. I think there's a growing, unfortunately, distrust in the medical fields, and generally that's very unfortunate, because really we're trying to do our best for our patients. And so in conversing with people, it's really trying to understand, hey, what's the problem? Where is this distrust coming from? What's affecting you? Why is that? And how can we help you?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, like you're saying, it's interesting that you brought those together, because they are related concepts. These two items. Just try to understand, what's going on, what's the problem, what's the perception, and see like how can we help you? I think that's the idea.
Yeah, you're bringing your medical care to the body politic, and and there's a component of, you've got to both diagnose what's going on, as well as prescribe some kind of treatment for it. And it feels like the American People's Compact is that kind of thing. It says, okay, here we've diagnosed the problem. The problem is this distrust. The problem is this disconnect between what so many people want and what we're actually getting out of our elected leaders. And so here's a path forward to, here's the pills we need to take to get better.
I'm gonna, if it's okay with you, I'm gonna take that. I gotta.
Totally, yeah.
It's a really nice way to.
Sure. For sure.
I like that.
Well, hey, thank you so much for your good work. Thanks for partnering with us. We're glad to share this out. We think people need more frames for understanding their political life, not less. And the world of politics is becoming more reductionistic over time. Like, well, I'm not that kind of political party, or I'm not that kind of voter. I'm not that kind of, person from whatever part of the country or ethnic group. Like, we're just whittling down to standing on less and less, as opposed to sensing that there's more and more. Like, we're really moving into a scarcity mindset around our politics rather than abundance mindset, and it's not serving anyone and anyone well.
Yeah, 100% agree with you.
Yeah, Fishu, thank you so much. Tell us the website one more time where people can go and sign the pledge and share it out.
Yeah, so it's at the AmericanPeoplesCompact.org. That's the easiest place to find it. It should hopefully show up on Google if you search it too. So that's where you can go to find out more information, reach out, provide suggestions, volunteer, reach out to your electeds, all of the above.
Great.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Hey, y'all. Thanks for sticking around. If you're around all this time, you're a super listener. You're a super watcher. We appreciate you a lot. Thanks for being a part of the Vote Common Good world. And we'll talk to you next week. Keep up on all the things that we do. And if you're not already connected over at voteCommonGood.com, do so.